Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So we're back with another episode of Titans, episode 2, and I do believe the entire DC fandom unanimously agreed last episode should have been the season finale for season 1. So let's get that out of the way first. That aside, last episode we got a lot of revelation, something of some world building for the season to come with the introduction of Slade. Batman was introduced, being played by Ian Glenn. Still not quite sure how I feel about that. I don't know. I was expecting him to be much older because this obviously is not Teen Titans. I think maybe one or two of our members are supposedly teenagers, but this is obviously a much different version of the Titans. So I expected him to be older, just not that English, right? The British accent was pretty much still there. You could actually hear it, and I think it's more along the line than someone actually had mentioned it in that last episode, that the Bruce that Dick has been describing throughout the entirety of season 1 wasn't necessarily present here. The dark and brooding character that he's been talking about just seemed completely indifferent, and I get that. I suppose looking at it from another angle, there's some possibility that when tragic things happen in our lives, as it did with Bruce and as it did with Dick, oftentimes a lot of these things are magnified from our perspective, in a way, right? And he was, he wanted to hate Bruce. He wanted someone to blame, someone to hate. So perhaps in some way, shape, or form, that's what we were witnessing. That it wasn't as bad as he made it out to be, but in his mind it felt that way. So there is an argument to be made there. But for the most part, I was happy to actually see them meet. Anytime we have any Batman cast on screen anywhere, obviously that's what anyone will be talking about, and it was no different in this situation. But their discussion was just a lot more tame than I expected it to be. But that aside, unfortunately, our characters have split up a bit. Corey has left. She didn't say where she was going. I assumed that she was heading back home, and I guess this is where the story is somewhat different from the last, because traditionally, she comes to Earth because she's essentially trying to escape. They're trying to kill her. Her sister usurped the throne, and she was trying to escape, and she ended up on Earth. So traditionally, that's her background, but here it's a bit different. She was actually sent to kill. I don't believe it was mentioned whether or not she was royalty, but we know her character to be a princess. But I don't think it was mentioned, but she may not have gotten all her memories back, or maybe she's not a princess in this one, because who sends a princess on a mission to assassinate someone? So I'm guessing not. She seems to be a soldier here. So some interesting changes, right? And we have 2 Robins. Not quite sure how that's going to work out. And we have Titan Tower finally. Unfortunately, not in the shape of a T. And I do hope that they remedy that problem by the end of this season, if not later on, season 3 or 4, whatever the case might be. It needs to be a T. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what the next episodes will bring. I'm hoping that we do. I mentioned before Hawk and Dove, 2 of my favorite characters from season 1. So I'm hoping that we do get them back. We know that they were initially a part of the original Titans that Robin had formed, and they fell out. I imagine because of the love triangle, potentially. But still hoping to see them make a return. Hank and Dawn, please come back. But episode 2, let's check it out.
Got a triple venti
What
mocha
was
for
that one
Rochelle
condition
and a
that
small
Batman
coffee for
asked
dessert?
for?
Dick.
Excuse me?
Oh, never mind.
So have you put any thought into our name?
What do you mean? It matters what you do. We're training for whatever's next. There's never a shortage of people out there who want to screw things up for the rest of us. You know what they say? All it takes for evil to succeed,
It's for good men and women to do nothing.
that's Titans. Good men and women not doing
Not exactly, but I guess it should be.
You could put that on a t-shirt, Dirk.
And Gar is completely out of his element here. Training montage, yes. I don't see this going well because Gar obviously, I mean, Jason has a temper. It's not doing bad.
Yeah, fuck, man. You said don't hold back. What were you doing? I was fucking blindfolded.
You said, don't hold back. When you're fighting with Batman, you're a sidekick. There are no sidekicks in Titans.
You're kidding, right? Because that's literally all Titans are, sidekicks. I mean, it's practically the fucking motto. Wonder Girl, Aqualad.
You're thinking of the old Titans. This is the new Titans.
Aqualad.
That was the whole point when Donna and I put the team together the first time. We're partners. We have each other. I could actually use some help with the others. They don't have the experience you have.
Give him some responsibility.
You notice they sort of look up to you, follow your lead. When you're on point, they're on point. When you're not,
It's true.
you need to set the tone. I'm not robbing anyone. You are.
Hey, wait.
What
Fine,
are you
Rob.
if you're not Robin?
Who are you?
Robin 2.
It's a good question.
Go on, get the Nightwing costume ready. You mentioned Aqualad here. Nice. I'm guessing Slade. Who's he supposed to be? Oh. Huh. Absorbing light? What the hell is this?
This is all right.
Hey,
First thing,
that's the guy from
stay calm.
Sirens.
What am I supposed to do? It's better.
Love that series so much. If you guys haven't seen it, be sure to watch Titans. He was fantastic in it. Okay,
you can get her a-
something else to look forward
The
to.
reins.
Spoke to Dick today.
How is Hero Academy going?
Pretty good, I guess. Wants us to come visit, see the tower and the city.
We should.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, why not?
Isn't San Francisco like a 24-hour party? You want to put yourself through that?
You know, the first thing they teach you in recovery, the world's not going to change
Oh.
just because.
Did you get any jelly?
So she didn't
No
go
one likes
back
jellies.
home.
Maybe not on Tamarind, but humans love jellies.
Ah, okay. They're working together.
Oh, so now you're human. I'm half human. That half really likes jellies.
It's nice to be in a place where people are still figuring themselves out.
So, Earth is kind of like one big middle school?
In a way, you're young. You're just starting out. But you're born with options. Right? You live with options.
Sounds like you're thinking of staying more permanently.
I was thinking.
Daddy is back. Or he never left. Hmm.
We haven't talked like this in a while.
Yeah. My fault.
It's all good.
No, it's not. I feel different. Like I'm not the same person I used to be.
So is that Trigon left a piece of himself in the shard that he placed on her forehead or something?
A student. Can't let him down like that.
Are you worried that he's gonna think you're a failure?
I'm worried he's gonna think he's a failure. God, I miss Corey.
Now it looks like the suspect. Who
Why
the hell
steal
is
a
that?
car though?
A total badass.
I'm unimpressed.
This suspect does appear to be female. She's got silver hair. She does seem to be injured. We're not sure how badly.
Looked as if they recognize her.
Blood for it.
Oh, I guess he knew where to look.
What the hell?
So I guess Dawn is still going out and doing her crime fighting and stuff, but Hank is out.
What the fuck was that?
I love her costume design every time I see it. I thought they were both out though. Or is she doing it without Hanks knowing?
911. What's your emergency?
There's a meth lab at 2751 Hollister Lane. It's being run by
3 complete dipshits.
3 complete dipshits. So,
That it's the kind of thing you'd notice.
How long?
A month.
Yeah. They were both supposed to be out, man.
We became hawkened up to deal with pain. Our pain. And it worked. But then
I
it
guess
wasn't
do
enough
it-
for
do it
you.
for a different
You
reason.
found other ways.
You're wrong.
Am I? That's why I went alone, so that you wouldn't risk a relapse.
Oh, I see. So you were doing me a favor sneaking out behind me.
Okay, what the hell?
Ellis?
Hey, you okay?
What's wrong with him?
What the hell?
No, no.
Back away.
We gotta go.
What the hell? Cannot live in peace. God damn it. Yeah, I was hoping for Tara, but unfortunately, I doubt very much that this is her.
You can't keep me here against my will. It's kidnapping.
Call it a precaution. I saw what you could do out there on the street. You look like you might need some help. Better safe than
Oh.
sorry.
So you brought
So
me
they don't
here,
know each other, okay?
unconscious?
You can leave whenever you want.
Great.
They're still out there. If I could find you, so can they.
Is she a member of the league? Okay.
She actually shimmers.
Just walking down the street. So I guess metas are a matter of public knowledge
Don't make
now.
this harder than it has to be.
But that's what I do, love. I'll go high.
I'll go low.
love seeing the lasso in
Can
action.
resist.
It's interesting though that metas are just all over the place in this world now. I thought it was gonna be something like newly discovered.
Do you know why I stayed?
I think so. It's hard to be angry in a vacuum. I provided a target and a focus for your rage. I became a tangible enemy.
I was mad at fate and death. Those are just concepts. You're a person. Okay, here's what I have to know.
He's gonna do the exact opposite, isn't he?
Big man. Devote all that time and trouble for someone who just wants to leave.
I would do everything exactly the same.
That's what.
Hello, Miss Coriander. Surprised to see me?
Okay.
Who else did they send?
Just me.
They should have
So
sent
more
more.
visitors. Ah, come on. Yeah, that's not suspicious at all.
Okay, look. I probably shouldn't have just picked you up off the street and taken you in. I overstepped.
You think?
What you do has to be your own decision, obviously.
But
Each of those kids has something special, just like you. But they've learned that being special and alone doesn't work. I'm teaching them to have each other's back. I know you don't think you need it, but when you do, call me. Will you at least give me your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose.
Rose.
You can keep the letter open.
Thanks.
Get down!
I mean, how do you find out who Hank and Dawn were? How do you find out who Dick was?
Come on.
You guys are horrible.
Rose
At
Wilson.
keeping your identities a secret.
And that's her dad, Slade was.
Ah. Her dad. Okay. Didn't see that one coming.
Fucking way.
What?
Deathstroke.
All right, so episode 2. I mean, more and more. We keep getting more name drops, more world building, more characters, and I'm loving it. Dr. Light. It's one of the characters that I'm not familiar with. I'm guessing he's from Batman's Rogues Gallery. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I'm pretty familiar with most of Batman's villains, even the most ridiculous ones, and he does not sound familiar. But Dr. Light, I'm assuming that Slade broke him out. Slade did. I mean, he did get back in action after he saw the announcement that Titans will be back. So I am guessing that there is some history there between with Dick and Hank and Dawn and Slade. They must have encountered him before at some point for that to kind of spur him back into action the way it did, because he seemed to have been retired. His daughter Rose Wilson seems to be a metahuman. And that's one of the interesting things about this episode, and I like it. I mean, initially I thought this was going to be in this world, you know, metahumans maybe haven't been discovered yet, or there are rumors of metahumans and people are, you know, aware, but not to what extent the metahumans actually exist. I thought it was going to be something along those lines, but no, it's flat out metahumans are real. They're walking around shimmering on the street, and people are very much aware of it. But one of the things that's been missing so far, it wasn't addressed in season 1, and I guess that's season 1 is what informed that decision in some way, because in season 1 they you know, you got the impression that people that were special were kind of hiding away from society, right? We saw it with the Doom Patrol team. Although in their instance it's a bit more extreme, right? But we got the impression in season 1 that metahumans were, hidden away because the society would not accept them. But despite that in season 1, and here in season 2, where it's a complete opposite, where, and then not to say that they're completely accepted, but the public is very much aware of them. So people seeing Shimmer walking down the street, they were surprised, but they weren't like taken aback or like, get out of my city or anything like that. So the metahumans are here, they're walking around, people know they're there, and so it's just a weird contrast to the very first episode, where it seemed as though being special and having abilities was something unacceptable, but here it seems as though it's something of a norm, right? So I mean, we have a lot of metahumans in this world, and it gives me hope for what the season would bring, because it means it's going to be, I don't know, I keep referencing Teen Titans, but it means it's going to be a lot similar to the universe that existed within Teen Titans, in that the kind of characters, the kind of villains that they're actually going to be facing. It's going to require a big budget, of course, but I love that they're actually doing it. One of the things that, I mean, the Arrowverse, while I enjoyed it to some extent, one of the things that I didn't particularly love about it is because is that it never fully embraced that aspect of it, right? The supernatural elements or the meta elements of it. Later on, it did more. It did introduce new characters with them and expose you to characters with abilities, but it took some time to actually get there, and the focus was mostly on ordinary villains to some extent. And I mean, Slade did appear there as well, but it was mainly focused on being grounded, right? The Flash was something of an exception. So whenever there was a crossover event or he met with the Flash's team, those were my favorite moments whenever there was a crossover with the two. And while the Flash had metahumans, of course, they didn't look the greatest, but here they look fantastic. Dr. Light looks fantastic, and dude walking around making people explode, I can't not love it. So the world building it's becoming massive. We had some name drops earlier with Aqualad, which I'm assuming means Aquaman exists here as well. So I'm not sure if it was mentioned before and I missed it, but they mentioned Aqualad, so we might actually get Aqualad here, or that. And I don't know, something he did say that I'm curious as to who the original members of the Titans were now, because the impression I get is that Aqualad was already a part of the team, and then they fell out, and now he's trying to put together a new team of Titans. So we may not get them. I hope we do. I really do hope we do. There's still no sign of Superboy, so there's still that. And who knows, maybe in the future Aqualad will come back on. We got Hank and Dawn back finally, which I was hoping for, just not under these circumstances. I wanted it, but at the same time I kind of agreed with Hank in that whenever they get back in, it kind of just tears the rest of their life apart, and the crime fighting, that becomes their life. And it's surprising to see that it was, the arguments were coming from opposite sides that I expected them to come from. Right? So I mean, Hank, I figured it would take a while for him to not do it, because it was obvious that he was using it as a to kind of channel his anger, right? To take it out on the villains, because he had a lot of issues to deal with. So I expected him to be the one making that argument, and Dawn to be the one, arguing against getting back into the life. It was interesting to see those roles reversed, and to see Hank, with horses and mentoring someone. It's like, okay, who are you? But it's 3 months have passed. He's been in rehab, managing his anger. Clearly, it's been working. But Dawn misses the life, and maybe not for the reason that she says she does. She, according to her, I mean, Hank was using it as a tool to channel his anger, but for her it was somehow different. But I don't think that's the case. She clearly misses the life, and it's something of an addiction for her too. I mean, she was in a coma, as Hank pointed out. She was in a coma for a month, and she. And weirdly enough, look, there's no way that you're going to be sneaking out for a month. You're going to be sneaking out to go and fight crime in the middle of the night, and your partner would not notice, right? She must come back with bruises, blood, whether hers or someone else's. You would notice, Hank. But anyhow, she misses life, and it's become something of an obsession for her, it seems. And who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe she made a point earlier on that before she said what she said about Hank, and I think perhaps that's it. She initially, when they were doing it was for a different reason. I think they were both driven by revenge to some extent. Her for her mom, him for his brother, or trying to live out what they felt were their legacies, right? But if she finds another purpose in actually helping people, from that angle, I can actually agree with her, because Hank is doing the very same thing, except he's working with kids. You can help people without wearing a costume, and that's great for him. But for her, perhaps this is her way of helping people. Shutting down a meth lab that's one way to actually help. So that argument, so I agree with both, but because I don't want to see anything happen to either of them, maybe I'm siding with Hank on this one. But at the same time, I want to see them back. I love her costume design and the feathers being used to actually block bullets and knives and stuff like that. So I miss seeing them fight. I love seeing them. I love it when they're in, but not the best circumstances under which I would want them to return. Dr. Light is back, obviously working for Slade, attempted to take them out. I'm guessing again this is revenge for Slade. But again, how does he know who they are? That's the whole point of secret identities. I mean, there are ways to find out, but it just seemed a bit too easy, right? And as to why he wouldn't use that to his advantage in some way, because I mean, Hank and Dawn, I can probably understand. I can understand figuring out who Hank and Dawn are, because they're not, from what I've seen of them so far, they're not as careful as Dick is, right? And they don't have the resources that he has either to actually keep his identity hidden. So I can see someone easily maybe following them back to their hideouts and trailing them and actually learning who they are. But Dick has been very careful, and prior to that he was working under Batman, so it's pretty and he's learned a lot from Batman as well in terms of his detective skills, ensuring that he's not being trailed, and pretty much just keeping his identity under wraps. I would guess is Batman's first the first class of being Robin. Keep your identity hidden so the people around you don't get hurt. So it's just weird that Slade somehow just easily figured out who they were, and is now targeting them. But that aside, absolutely love the episode. Where Jason is concerned, I mentioned before last episode that there are subtle hints being given for the Red Hood. We may not necessarily get that this season, but there's definitely the potential for it. I hope we don't get it too soon, right? We're still learning about these characters and who they are. Jason is still, to some extent, not necessarily, and he's still not completely as skilled as Dick is, and I would want him to be in order for that fight to actually be as wicked as it could actually be, because as he is now, he's not on par with Dick, and I guess that was the condition that Bruce gave him for Titan Towers, actually to take Jason in and to train him, which does raise an interesting question as to who will actually, if we do go the route of Red Hood, who will actually let Jason die. I mean, traditionally it's Batman, of course, but given that he's now on Dick's team, I'm guessing that is what's going to happen. So they're going to change. If they do go that route, I think they're going to change the storyline completely, and it will not be the Joker. It will actually be someone else that actually kills him, which will piss fans off. To be honest, it will piss fans off. I wouldn't mind it, to be honest. It doesn't really matter who does it, right? It doesn't change the whole point of the story. But I think if they go that route, they're gonna have someone else kill Jason, and he's gonna be upset that Dick didn't try to save him. So it's gonna be Dick playing the Batman character in this arc if they go that route. All right, that's the only reason I can see them actually having both of them on the same team. And while Ian Glenn has been portraying Bruce Wayne, I don't think we're going to be seeing him as Batman at all in this, and I prefer it that way, right? A lot of us got excited when he was cast, but Batman is such an iconic character that the moment he's introduced in anything, he takes the spotlight away from all the other characters. So to bring Batman in would it would take the focus away from these characters that we're just getting to know, really. Right? So I don't mind him being in a mentor capacity that Dick can call and ask for advice. Still a weird dynamic that I'm trying to get accustomed to, because their relationship isn't as volatile as Jason and Bruce, but they were never that, close that he'd be like, "Oh, Bruce, I need your advice." No. It was never like that. And it's not even just how they portrayed their relationship in season 1. That's just never been Bruce and Dick's relationship. To call him and ask him for advice like that. But it's again, they're doing their own different take on these characters, and it's working so far. So I have no complaints about that. So it's good to have Bruce in a mentor capacity here, but leave it at that. You do not need to see him as Batman. And this is from someone who loves Batman, but there are so many characters in this series to follow, to learn, to grow. We don't need to add Batman to that lineup. We don't. And again, as I said, the show is called Titans. Now Titans and Batman, so let's keep the focus on the Titans themselves. So finally, Corey has a visitor, someone from her homeworld. I'm guessing another soldier. She talks about her homeworld a little bit, and how it's actually like there. And I mentioned before earlier in the intro that the story is a bit different from what we're accustomed to with Corey, her being an actual princess who is escaping her homeworld and ends up on Earth. But here it seems as though it's something of a militant world, and similar to like Man of Steel, right, where everyone is born with a specific purpose, is what I'm getting there. So in the same way where on Man of Steel, General Zod, who was born and bred to be a soldier, it's the same thing here with Corey, at least based on what she has said, and she envies the people of Earth because they actually are figuring themselves out. They actually have options. But where she's from, you're born to do this, and that's it. You have no other options. So there's some parallels there, and I like it. I mean, again, it's changing. It's changed, and I know a lot of people are gonna, have some trouble adjusting to that. But I think it can be a good thing. Alright, so I thoroughly enjoyed the story. Can't wait to see more metahumans. The metahumans are the thing I'm most excited about, because we've never gotten a world with this much focus. We had the Flash, but we've never had them look this good. No offense to the Flash, right? But it looks fantastic. Can't wait to see the next episode, and new characters as well, new heroes, not just new villains, but definitely exciting. Alright guys, be sure to post down below, let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. Hit like or subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.